right. Good news is you're in the UFC. Bad news is you're fighting the guy that you just beat to get into the UFC. I know it's controversial, but how weird is this, having to fight this guy again?
Honestly, man, it's not that weird. In my professional career, I've had 2 rematches. I've had 2 rematches in my professional career, and I did it twice, and I finished those guys the second time around quicker than the first time. So honestly, it's nothing new for me, and I made the adjustments. I'm just going to do this in a cleaner fashion this time.
It only took you half a round to less than half a round to beat Ramon the first time. So do you still think you can kind of continue that rematch streak of finishing it faster than the first fight?
I'll try my best for sure.
And the last thing I wanted to ask was, I read that you became interested in combat sports after watching the movie Never Back Down. Any other movies, TV shows, media that kind of has influenced you since then?
Honestly, man, it was always the cheesy movies, but I was young. It was like Never Back Down. If you guys remember Warrior, that was another one, sick movie, right? And then, like, yeah, those 2 for sure.
Right here. Just a quick one for me. I saw an interview you did with one of our guys, actually. You've always wanted to be a performer, and you said you wish you could have been a singer when you grew up. I'm not going to ask you to sing, don't worry. But what would you have sung? Like, what style would you be?
Oh, man, anything. I have a horrible voice, though, but it was just, like, the whole idea of, like, I just want to be in front of a crowd, man, you know, and just, like, I remember, like, going to my high school talent show and seeing people kill it on the stage, and I was like, oh, man, I wish I had that skill, but I found fighting instead, and now I get to do it in front of a crazy crowd.
I guess one other quick one, just this being at home in Toronto, this is as close to a hometown show as you're really going to get, right? Is this kind of the equivalent of dreaming of, being in a hockey game when you're kids as Canadians, like I'm going to play at the Maple Leaf Gardens or the ACC?
Yeah, man, like I was here when Max Holloway fought Brian Ortega, and I was in the crowd, and I remember feeling that energy, and it was like, dude, this is going to happen for me. And I'm just grateful it's my first UFC fight, and I get this opportunity so quickly.
Thank you.
Back here. Yeah, so in the past 5 years, you went from starting your pro career at Burling Training Center Fight Promotions to now making your debut on a UFC pay-per-view. So I just wanted to ask, how does it feel for all your hard work to culminate in this moment?
Yeah, man, it feels amazing. I always knew that I was going to get this opportunity. Just had to put in the hard work, get 1% better every single day, and I knew that if I just stayed the course, this opportunity would come.
Thank you.
As someone that's like to have been like a big performer, is this a perfect scenario for you? UFC debut, your hometown, Scotiabank?
100%, man. You know, some people might say it's pressure, but I live for this pressure. I live for the fact that I get to perform in front of people, in front of my loved ones. You know, I've fought so many fights where I was in enemy territory fighting with, the hometown disadvantage. But this time I'm going to use that energy of the crowd, man. I'm going to fuel it for this fight.
Quick one for you in the front, right here. Obviously, as a young fighter, I'm sure you looked up to a lot of these veterans, and you saw how they got to the top of the mountain. So I'm curious, what type of fighter do you want to be, even like doing media stuff to get to that top? Because you see guys like Connor who will say all this stuff, and then that draws people in. But then you see guys that just head down, keep fighting, and then like Max Holloway just rack up wins, and then they still get to that same position. So I'm curious, how do you view your career moving forward? What type of fighter do you want to be?
Yeah, man, to be honest, I like the Max Holloway approach. I really do. I want to be real. I don't want to fake anything. I don't want it to feel phony. I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to make my performances speak for themselves. And, I think I'll just be myself, man.
Have you had people come up to you and say, like, oh, you got it, you have to talk trash, you have to get better on the mic, and they try to convince you, like, this is the route that you should take, and you just ignore that? Or do you keep your circle close and they know who you are and they're not going to try to change you?
Yeah, man, I keep my circle small. People have definitely told me that before, and but like I'm just gonna be real to me, man. You know, again, people can tell when that stuff is fake, man. It's a vibe thing, right? So if I'm just myself, I think all the good things are gonna happen.